It has been a week since the unfortunate losses of Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau, and we continue to honor them in their lives here on Locked On Flames.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. It's been a week since the tragic accident that took Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau from the world. And I really think that this past week has been such a cathartic experience for a lot of different reasons. And I think the hockey community and the city of Calgary have really banded together to continue on the legacy of both brothers. And obviously, Johnny left such an impact on the city of Calgary, and I don't think that that's going away anytime soon. We're going to talk about that today. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. We're back to daily shows in just under 2 weeks, and I'm looking forward to talking about Flames hockey and to see the work from the summer be put together and displayed as a product on ice. This past week, the Blue Jackets and Flames both hosted candlelight vigils for both brothers, and the speeches, the artwork, the groups, the size of the crowds was unbelievable. I think that you have this idea of what something may turn out to be, and both cities completely blew me away. And that sense of community is important at any given moment, but especially in times like this. And I know that we're all, working through this in different ways and at our own paces. Some people are, you do your thing. I always say this. There is no right or wrong way to grieve. How I grieve might be different than yours. And how you grieve might be different than your own sibling. You don't know. But to be able to, come on the show and talk about the impact that Johnny has had on my own journalism career and the city of Boston to an extent, and, how it all ties back to the foundation of family. And we heard all the stories this week of how, there was no John without Matty, and there was no Matty without John. And the pictures that we have seen posted throughout the week from especially their close friends, it wasn't just like an act for the camera or to play up, the relatability factor, if you will. All of the Gaudreau siblings were basically attached at the hip growing up. And I mean, it's important. And I think that, we should do that for each other right now and be there for our friends and not really necessarily pass judgment with how upset they are or how they might be needing help. process all of this, because this is something that a lot of people have never had to grapple with. But back to the vigils, I thought the stories from, Backlund were so funny. Especially, he talks about everyone just like Johnny would show up in sweatpants and sweatshirts, and it didn't matter if it was like 95 degrees out or if it was freezing. He wanted to be comfortable, and I think we can all relate to that, right? No one wants to be, in restrictive clothing, especially, you're trying to loosen up, stay calm. Um, Backlund talked a lot about just how lighthearted Johnny was, and just like, he was a very serious hockey player. He only wanted to play hockey, but he would always kind of push Backlund, please ask for a day off. Can we get a day off? I think we should. And he wasn't going out on that ice to warm up if he didn't have to, which feels like the exact opposite work ethic of someone who is so dedicated to hockey. So, I mean, just the stories of how much he loved playing hockey from the time he was chasing Skittles on his backyard rink to, his final game in Columbus. Erik Gudbrason really got me. And I think a lot of people, because, so if you don't know, Gudbrason said that I used to, Johnny would be late, pick Johnny up, and then, they'd go wherever, to the rink, practice, whatever. But then there were times when Gudbrason would literally pick Johnny up and hold him in a bear hug and would not let him go until he said, I love you. And Gudbrason said, there were times where those hugs would last forever. And I realize now it's because how much he loved those hugs. I hope that they got one last bear hug in at some point this summer. It's really hard because, like, that's like a very specific memory and like specific thing you do with someone. It doesn't matter if there's another peanut on the team. These ever peanut or teammates with another peanut. No one can replace a Johnny Bear hug. And I just want to, continue talking about this past week. And I know that a lot of us have been feeling so upset and lost. And I hope that this podcast is a way for you to feel less alone. These are not easy feelings, and grief is just so confusing and infuriating, and that's why you need a sense of community. But I do want to take a quick break, and we will come back to talk about more of Johnny's legacy and just how ridiculous and lighthearted and fantastic he was as a teammate, friend, and brother. And we'll be back right after this. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for or your money back, because with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to Make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit, only available for U.S. customers. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Thank you for making the show part of your day. I know that we all live pretty busy lives, and we all have a lot going on, and it's very nice to see you all in the comments or on Twitter kind of just come together and support this and lean on each other through this unfortunate tragedy. There have been so many stories shared, just from teammates, from coaches, from friends. Chris Snow's widow posted today a screenshot of a text exchange she found on Chris's iPad. And Johnny reached out back in 2023 saying, he's praying for him, he's thinking about him often, hang in there. And please tell Willa, his youngest daughter, that my dog Bailey misses you or misses her. I feel like that speaks volumes to John's character, to anyone's character, to reach out to someone that you probably have not seen in over a year at this point, that is essentially terminally ill, and they're going to pass away, to reach out to them and just be like, hey, I'm thinking of you and your family. Because, for John to remember, like, oh, his dog really liked Willa. It really is those little things that add up and like mean a lot, especially like through those tough times. And I'm sure we've all noticed that. The funeral services, I believe, are going to be on Monday. They're going to be live streamed, which sounds so weird to say, on the Blue Jackets website. I mean, for God's sakes, they had cameras in the church when Ted Kennedy passed away. So like, this isn't a new concept, but it feels so strange to say that, because hockey season, like, crying out loud, like, Matty should be, coaching his high school team, like, for his job. John should be back in, almost like Calgary, in Columbus, getting ready and all that stuff. Like, this should not be happening. The GoFundMe for Maddie's wife, Madeline, and their unborn son Trip, has exceeded $650,000. That is incredible. Again, that sense of community, the importance of being a good person, and keeping good people around you. I think so many people feel robbed of, brothers, sons, dads, uncles, husbands, a friend, a hockey player. And it's hard to try to like come to terms and think about the what ifs, because you can just send yourself spiraling. And that's not a fun time. And I think one thing that has absolutely helped me is just reading Meredith Gaudreau's posts for John, especially on their wedding anniversary, which happened to be the same day as the vigil, which, again, they should have been having a nice steak dinner or whatever, and not doing this. So it's one of those things that I don't want to say come to terms with, because that sounds very dismissive, but you have to realize that there's so many pieces to this, and the alleged drunk driver will be charged, or has been charged, with New Jersey's equivalent of vehicular manslaughter. Again, that is alleged. The suspect in this case. I saw someone say, if that driver had just crashed ahead of the boys, they would have been the first people to go and make sure he was okay, because that's the type of person they were. And I feel like that really hits the nail on the head, because while his careless decisions and selfish decisions took 2 lives, you just know they would have been the first people on the scene had he just, I don't really, hit a telephone pole instead of them. I mean, it's, and again, that's something that's like can send you down spiraling, and we don't want that. I I have had these coloring pages printed out since the 2021 season. No, that's a lie. It was that off season. It was the 2022 off season when Gaudreau and Tkachuk left. I have coloring, like, printed them offline. And it's like Johnny and Matthew, Tkachuk and Gaudreau, and just coloring, stress free. It's nice. If you're watching on YouTube, you can probably see some of my coloring books and my colored pencils. Like, just relax. This is heavy. It's important to, take time for yourself, and, you know, choose how you want to honor, and keep the Gaudreau legacy alive. Coming up next, we will close out the show with how you can be the best version of yourself by honoring the Gaudreau brothers and what they stood for. And we will be back right after this. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that's making getting tickets to your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Does anyone else get really aggravated when you're, I don't care about these bad seats, these overpriced seats. I want the best value for my seat, my price, my hard-earned money. I want to go and have a good seat at this concert or a baseball game, a hockey game. Hello, NHL season is right here. I'm sure that I will be using Game Time to go to a Flames game, whether it be up in Montreal or when they're in Boston, or heck, maybe even Madison Square Garden. Curation makes it easier to save money, to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The all-in pricing feature is fantastic. All you have to do is flip the little toggle on, and there's no surprise fees at checkouts. It is right there, all right there. And you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On NHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Thanks everyone for tuning into today's episode. Feel free to subscribe. Like it feels very strange to like self promote here. So yes, I talked a little bit about it earlier in the week. About Jimmy Hayes passing and how there was the tagline, I guess you would say, of be like Jimmy. Jimmy and Johnny and Kevin Hayes, all best friends. Um, I can't even imagine what Kevin is going through. But we can turn this into an extension of be like Johnny and Matt. Take pride in what you do. You know, give 150% every time. Have a positive attitude. You know, don't look at things like the glass half empty, but rather half full. Um, you know, just do something that would make, you know, your younger self proud, or, you know, hold the door open for someone. Like, just be kind and courteous. And I'm sure like that does come naturally for some people, but I think, you know, working a little bit harder to take that extra step and really start making those extra steps part of your day will makes a world of difference. Um and always just like, I'm a big big proponent of always hugging um you know, whoever you're leaving goodbye, because you don't know when that last hug could actually be, and that is so dark and awful to, you know, kind of say, but like, always give your hugs 150% too. um One of the things that has been like a key part of like my life is making memories, and whether that is going deep sea fishing, or skipping rocks on the lake, going kayaking, or, you know, um, road tripping it to Major League Baseball parks that I've never been to before. Those are all things that I'm going to hold close to me and remember doing with the people I was with, and it'll always be special. Um, you know, maybe you take a family member out to dinner. You buy your partner flowers. You buy your sibling that stuffed animal that they've been talking about, or that Lego set, or whatever the case may be. You just go above and beyond. And I don't think that like there was ever a question, or like, their level of kindness and generosity and thoughtfulness was natural. It was not like this, like that's how they were raised. You are kind, you're respectful, you know, please and thank you. And just having a positive mindset and outlook, and being able to um the cliche of lighting up every room you walk into is so overused, but you want people to say, you know, oh hey, when is Johnny getting to this party, like, because he has the coolest stories, or, you know, they always tell the best jokes, things like that. Like, you want to be like the favorite cousin at the party. And you know, it's tough. Like, no one is downplaying this. I think that everyone has been impacted one way or another, and, you have fans leaving purple Gatorade and Skittles and, um, getting nice sidewalk chalk, messages, and that, I believe her name is Lindsay Hamilton. She's auctioning off a beautiful painting she did of, Johnny, and the proceeds from that are gonna go to the GoFundMe. I also have the GoFundMe posted on the community tab in case you're interested. Um, it's a very gorgeous painting. So I don't know what the bids are up to now. When I first checked, it was $1,400, and I was like, "Oh, I mean, like, deserved, obviously, but I don't have that kind of money to just throw at a painting, unfortunately." Um, maybe if we all get together, we can put something together. Um, I probably will be making friendship bracelets, with 13 and 21, on them, and I'll have them at the home opener, and if you would like one, I will happily give you one. Um, it's very important to I would say to all of us that we make the home opener, the loudest that place has ever been, or as close to as loud as it got when Johnny scored that game 7 overtime winner. But, you know, gotta make the most of it while you're still here, and I couldn't be more proud of Calgary and their fans, and of course Columbus as well. Um, I am going to wrap it up for today's show, but thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all doing okay. Like I've mentioned before, my DMs are open if you need someone to talk to. Um, this is not this is uncharted territory for a lot of people, and unfortunately, some of us are familiar with the loss of Kobe and how that impacted, either ourselves or the people around us, whatever the case may be. But that will do it for me today. Remember to stay hydrated, be kind, please, please tip your waitresses. Um, Subscribe if you want, and I'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend.